Finally tired of doing the same things over and over again, expecting different results? Well, this show is going to help you change your life for the better. Strap on your seatbelt and navigate this roller coaster we call life with human potential expert and best-selling author Dr. Verna Price. Each week, Dr. Verna blesses you with her virtues to live your best life so you can be the best you that you can be.
Welcome to Dr. Verna's Virtues, and thanks for coming back. And for those of you who are brand new to the podcast, thank you. Welcome. Please do listen, subscribe, tell your friends. And for those of you who are with me every week, thanks for coming back. It's good to see you again. Our session this week, you may need to grab a box of Kleenexes on this one, because I'm going to be talking about how to move beyond disappointment. What do you do when someone who you love, someone who you look up to, someone who you thought was on your side or had it together or was making it happen, and they did something or they said something that was so disappointing to you that you could barely sleep? What do you do? How to move beyond that disappointment? And some people might even call it a heartbreak. How do you move beyond that? So let's talk about that. But first, let's talk about who you are. Because unless you know your personal power, I can tell you, you will not move beyond this. Because sometimes we just get stuck right there in that place of pain. So let's go ahead and start with our personal power affirmation. My power is my ability to think a new positive thought, see a new positive vision, speak new positive words, write new positive goals, and do something new and positive with my life by taking a new positive action step. At the end of this podcast, I'm going to ask you to take some action steps. And some of those action steps might be easy. Some of them might be really hard to do, but be ready, because we're going to make this thing happen. So let's just first start with this premise. And the premise is this: perfection is a myth. Let me say it again. Perfection is a myth. There's no perfect person, and there is no perfect life. And the truth of the matter is that we all struggle with something. So all of the people that look like they're perfect and that their life is perfect, none of it is true. We all struggle with something. And the question becomes, how well do we deal with our struggles? How well do you deal with that pain? So that is the premise. Here's another premise that I want to make sure that we have before we have this conversation. And this premise, actually, I found there's a little book, and it's called As a Man Thinketh. I go back to this book very often for my own self, okay? This is a very personal conversation I'm having with you today. This is about my own self, how I think and how I deal with things. And hopefully it will help you deal with some hard things in your life too, because some of you felt like someone just ran you over with a truck by what just happened. Like someone just took a boxing glove and just gave you a big bam right in your stomach by what just happened, or what you just heard, or what you just realized. Like you cannot believe it. And you cannot believe it's happening to you. And then you think to yourself, okay, what am I going to do? So here's another premise from this book, As a Man Thinketh. As a being of power, intelligence, and love. Okay, here's the premise. As a human being, you have power, you have intelligence, and you have love. Those are really big things. Now, I talk a lot about power, but you know what? You have a lot of intelligence. You can think yourself through some stuff. And you have a lot of love. And let me tell you, when someone hurts you real bad and you cannot find any love in you, oh, you are in trouble. Why? Because if you cannot find the love, you will give in to bitterness. And some of you have given in to bitterness. And if you're not careful about that bitterness, it will turn to anger. It will turn to hate. You have to have the love. And as a being of power, intelligence, and love, and the Lord of your own thoughts, you hold the key to every situation, and you contain within yourself the transforming and regenerative, What do you mean? What does it mean to regenerate? That means you can bring things new into your life. You can make things come back alive. It's gardening season now. It's like that one plant that you thought was dead all winter long, and it had nothing on the leaves. It had nothing on the branches. It just looked kind of limped over and gone. Guess what? That plant, come spring, it regenerates. It gets new life. And now it's blooming in your backyard, and you thought, I thought that plant was dead. No, it's not. The same thing with you. When you get so hurt, when someone does something that so disappoints you, for a moment, you might just feel like you're void, like you're lost, like there's nothing in there anymore. But let me tell you, you have the power of regeneration. Why? Because it's in you, because you get to make a future for yourself. You get to create new life in yourself. So when someone disappoints you, I just want to give you a couple of things to think about. Okay, I'm going to put my little thing back on here. There we go. I want to give you a few things to think about. First, understand that it is their life, not yours. Let me say it again. When someone disappoints you, refuse to take their problem. Refuse to take their mistake. You weren't there. You didn't make that mistake. You didn't do that thing. You didn't say that thing. So why is it that you're taking ownership of somebody else's problem? It is not your problem. It is their problem. So make sure, one, that you're being careful about what you own. Do you own that problem? Is it really your fault? The truth of the matter is, everyone is the Lord of their own life. So if someone has done something that really disappoints you, I want you to stop and think to yourself, okay, why did it disappoint me? Am I owning their stuff? Or here's another one. You have put that person up at such a level. You have put them up on such a pedestal that you've almost forgotten that they're a person, and they will make mistakes, and they will hurt you, and they will even hurt themselves. You've forgotten that you are dealing with a human being who is imperfect. So then you step back from that and you say, you know what? They are a human being and they are imperfect. So you find a way to make sure that you can say to yourself, I know my part. And my part maybe was I put them up on a pedestal. Then you own that yourself. And then come back to the place where you examine your motives and you say, well, what was my motivation for that? Why did I put them up on a pedestal? Was it something that I needed? Did I need someone to say, I did this for them and I did that for them? Did I need that? This is hard. This is a hard conversation today. Very difficult. Why? Because we have to see our part. When someone disappoints us, check your motives. Check your motives. Why are you so disappointed? Is it because you expected something of them that they simply could not give to you? It's amazing to me sometimes that we expect something of people that they cannot give. Secondly, in your motivation, did you put on them something that wasn't realistic for them to carry? Take our children, for example. Some of your children, they can handle really, really big things that you put on them and you expect of them. And some of your children can't. Some of your children are not strong enough in who they are as yet to be able to carry some of your expectations. They're just not. And you're going to have to step back and say, okay, now what's my motivation? Do I want my children to do this or be that because of me? Or do I want my children to do this or be that because that's who they want to be? Examine your motivation. Examine your motivation. And then after you have taken ownership, you've examined your motivation, then you have to look inside yourself and find a way to forgive. Who are you going to forgive? You're going to forgive yourself. That's who you're going to forgive. You're going to forgive yourself. You're going to forgive yourself for putting too much of yourself into that person. You're going to forgive yourself for owning that person's responsibility as opposed to allowing them to take their own responsibility for their own life. Like, how long have you been doing stuff for that person? How long have you been covering for them? How long have you been doing their life for them? And then when they all of a sudden no longer do what you want them to do, then you're disappointed? Isn't it time for you to let them live their life? Let me tell you, if they want to live a life that's a painful life to them, there is nothing you can do about it. And that is so hard. But the first place that you get to forgive is yourself. You get to forgive yourself for all that you have put into there. And you get to forgive yourself. And then you get to step back and say, you know what? There is enough love in me to still love that person and love them through their stuff, but not own their stuff. Realize that it's their life and they're going to have to change it. It's not yours. It's not yours. This is a tough message today. It's hard for all of us because when we get disappointed, boy, sometimes we can't even sleep. Let me tell you, breathe, sleep, laugh again, and realize that that disappointment is something that you get to deal with, work through, and you will. And then forgive yourself. And then after you've forgiven yourself, if there's still forgiveness work to do, forgive that person. And then find the love to love them again. But keep going. Keep going. All right. Thanks for joining me today for Dr. Verna's Virtues. Hard message, but you can do this thing. You can get through this thing. And there's another level for your life. Okay, let's end with the life affirmation, to change your life affirmation. Go ahead and repeat after me. This is my life. And I get to change it when I want to, how I want to, if I want to, because it was given to me. And that makes me very valuable, very important, very lovable, and extremely powerful. All right. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me. Bye.
Get caught up on previous episodes of Dr. Verna's Virtues at ShalettaMakesMeLaugh.com.